having done the two prior Riddick films, there must have been some ideas, circulating in your head for a while now about what works with the character, where you'd like to see him go. Coming into this film, did you have a list in your mind of things that you wanted to accomplish?
Um, well, initially, to be honest, when we made Chronicles of Riddick, we had envisioned Chronicles of Riddick as a trilogy. You must have heard of that. Core 1, Core 2, and Core 3. And after the release of Riddick was a little kind of disjointed, and it took him a while to get into the profit because it was such an expensive movie to make at the time. The idea was always to do two other films. So going into this, we knew we weren't going to be able to get the studio to greenlight a rated R movie. We had a fan base that was so loyal to Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick that really wanted us to jump back to the rated R experience. So what we wanted to do was capitalize off of the fact that Pitch Black had that rated R experience, and Chronicles of Riddick allowed us to expand the mythology and build a universe from scratch in a cool way. And how we would answer both of those issues, both the Pitch Black and the Chronicles of Riddick of it all, in a very modest, independent, budgeted film that would, of course, be an answer to the fans' desire for a rated R film. And that was what we were trying to do.
Well, I think pulled it off. You've clearly got a love for the genre, and now everybody, of course, is talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, and you mentioned this before. I realize you can't say much at this point, but can you talk a little bit about what it is that you love about that universe, the Marvel universe, and if you've had some familiarity with Guardians before, what that character in particular what about it might appeal to you?
I grew up stealing comic books, not even reading them, stealing them, from there was a place on University in 12th Street that was Forbidden Planet or whatever. I remember stealing, 11 years old, trying to lift comic books from the shelves and thought I was cool, and one with my book bag and one with my friend and whatever. I loved comic books. A bulk of my collection came from the garbage. I would walk around the city, and if someone threw out comic books, that was part of my collection. I had been offered, without saying anything, because I want to be cool about that for the actors that did take those roles, but I had been offered lead popular superheroes before. And I guess it's ironic that we're talking about it today in lieu of Riddick. I turned them down because I never wanted to compete with the Riddick character. I always wanted to preserve the integrity of the Riddick character, and I always felt like if I jumped into some spandex, would that hurt the truth of Riddick? So, although I loved Marvel, there was always a disconnect in my thinking that I would ever do anything with Marvel. The way the Marvel thing came out recently is, and go with me on this, when they saw Fast 6 and they saw Letty, the social network started to think I could do anything. When they knew that Riddick was in the can, after 9 years of no's and 9 years of you'll never be able to make this, and if you say rated R one more time, we're kicking you out of Hollywood, made the audience that much more confident that they could almost talk about something enough and it would happen, that I actually cared. The thing about the 46 million people on that page is they know, but they also really believe that I care so much that I'll go to great lengths to answer their request. And for a while, almost for, I guess since Avengers came out, probably since Avengers came out, there were people on the page saying, I don't get this. Why aren't you doing something in Marvel? This doesn't, you're the closest thing we have to a modern day superhero anyway. What's up? Can't you just go out of your comfort zone? And acting like I wasn't going into my comfort zone, like I was holding it back. And so when Marvel wanted to meet, I went there. And I was really going there to and this is funny, but I was really going there to go, see, Paige, I went there and I had a conversation. On your behalf, I went there and we talked and we had a conversation. And I was open-minded in a new way. And then we hit it off, and we started planning something in the future, and it was something very exciting in the future. And we went to Comic-Con, and after Comic-Con, it was very clear that those same people that were asking for something in the future also wanted something right now. And so that's where that's the genesis of that whole thing. And I actually take my hat off to Kevin Feige and James Gunn and the whole Marvel team for coming up with a very interesting concept that took into consideration that I don't have 6 months to shoot a movie, took into consideration that I might not be so quick to jump into a character that's too well known. Comic book fans are fickle, and you could have, as you've seen that's being talked about now with comics. And I never want to force anything on anybody. I work with my whole heart and with my whole soul, and I put my life on the line every time I do a movie. So if it's not something that is really wanted, we're better off not even going down that road.
Vin Diesel and Marvel, it's a team up worth waiting for. Thank you very much, sir.